I posted this video as a response to a Penn and Teller video somebody else has posted. See if it sticks or not. Dario pointed me to the video, and it was really quite disgusting from my perspective, and I'll explain that. And I found it, not just disgusting in that it's just such insensitive buffoonery. It's disgusting in that, Penn and Teller, they're big atheists, they're big, I'm going to be, the show's called Bullshit. And his whole philosophy, demonstrated, is bullshit. Certainly there's things to pick on about PETA. I'm not a member, and their concern is, it's a little tree huggy, okay? It goes to this extremes. They seem a lot more concerned about the life of animals than they do the welfare of animals. So I would first point out that that's sort of illogical in my opinion. So let's have the presumption here that I'm not talking to some religious nut who thinks that human beings are superior because God created us and planted us on planet Earth and all that bullshit. So if that's defines or describes you, then don't even pay attention, because you're not going to get it. But let's talk to other atheists, other people who might call themselves rational human beings, logical human beings. So let's analyze the logic of this presumption that humans don't have to be concerned with the welfare of animals. And that's basically what Penn was saying. We can not only eat them, but we really don't have to think about it at all. We can experiment on them. We can do whatever the fuck we want with them. They're there for our entertainment and for our consumption and for us to make use of them. He said it quite arrogantly and quite pompously, and with a great deal of insensitivity, not appreciating that it really does disgust other people. It doesn't just harm them or disturb them, it hurts them substantially. And to have that mocked by this arrogant fat pig is really disgusting. But anyway, so let's get to the logic of his imbecilic and idiotic argument. So let's just say we evolved. We are this much better, okay, than primates. And Penn basically said in the third part of the video, to save one human heroin addict, he would personally kill every chimpanzee on Earth. He said something that stupid. And when you think about what a chimpanzee is, it is certainly nothing less than a retarded human being. Biologically and practically, there's no logically escaping that. You could take a 2-year-old child and say, yeah, a chimpanzee is nothing less than that. You could take a 90-year-old senile nursing home patient and say a chimpanzee is certainly nothing less than that. And you could certainly take somebody dramatically retarded. I don't even think it has to be dramatic, but let's use the extreme example. Somebody substantially retarded, and it certainly is nothing less than that. As a practical functioning consciousness. There's no magic in the human being. We know that. 70,000 years ago, we had the same fucking brain, and we were behaving like baboons. Baboons with pointy sticks. That was the only distinction. And so it's just the height of nonsense, pop culture presumption, Inquisition-like retardation. Yeah, that's what you're guilty of, Penn. Inquisition-like retardation. To have this notion of superiority, and not only just superiority, but as if you are more valuable in your nature. The very nature of the fat Penn beast is somehow more valuable, even no matter what state its consciousness is in. And it's just bullshit. And so let's just evaluate the equation logically. If you torture a sentient creature that is substantially the same, consciousness-wise at least, of what I described, then why can't you just torture these other things? If we want to do medical experiments, why don't we just do them on 1-year-old babies? We do circumcisions still. It still happens without anesthesia. I mean, they do use anesthesia in most cases now, I think, but it still goes on without it. Obviously, we don't have a whole lot of respect for the consciousness of a newborn, so why don't we do our medical experimentation on newborn babies? Would that be acceptable socially? Why don't we use Alzheimer's patients? They don't know who the fuck they are. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Their brain isn't working worth shit. So why don't we do medical experiments on them? We got prisons full of people. Why don't we do medical experiments on them? I mean, they certainly don't deserve any consideration. They've actually earned being tortured. Well, again, why don't we do it to retards? Not to be insulting, but yeah, why don't we take functionally retarded human beings and why don't we just treat them like animals? Because that's all they are consciously. They don't have a consciousness that's any more substantial. So why do we have this hypocrisy, Penn? Explain it to me. Explain the hypocrisy. It is, you know, people, you have a sadistic desire in your head. Well, that's your problem. You've been conditioned to enjoy eating meat. Well, that's your problem. But don't sit there and rationalize it and pretend it's an attribute or an asset or something admirable or even something natural, because it isn't. We are not designed to eat raw meat. No part of us, neither our teeth nor our digestive system. So it's just a lie. The only way we can eat meat is when we turn it into sugar, basically, when we cook it. Okay, when we cook the protein molecules into bits, little pieces, so we can digest it. And that's just the factual truth. It's just, you know, so you people are just living a lie to sit there and keep rationalizing your behavior and say it's okay. I can find some sort of, you know, I can pull bullshit out of the air just because it exists in the air, just because like the Pope said it or something. And you're doing the same thing. You're just taking some sort of presumption, some sort of common presumption, and saying, yes, I'm going to accept it without even analyzing it, without even logically applying any rational thought to it. So it's just fucking bullshit. Yeah, we can't solve the problem of nature. There's no denying that. We can't. You know, it's just too massive a problem. We can't deal with taking care of human beings. So I'd say yes, that's the first priority. We got to take care of human beings. But we can't. You know, I would argue that there's more of a mission, that animals need to be rescued also. We wouldn't want our children living out there in that world. I mean, only 1 in 10 lion cubs grows to maturity. Think about that. You know, I mean, I know it's a cuteness thing, but I'm just saying it's this little vulnerable creature, and 9 out of 10 of them are going to be brutalized, you know, before they reach their 2nd birthday. And that's those kind of statistics, that kind of reality. If it doesn't bother you, I can't make it bother you, but I think logically you have an obligation to be bothered. If you're going to be bothered by somebody, you know, sticking a knife in a baby's head or sticking a knife in an Alzheimer's patient's head, if those things are going to bother you, then this should bother you also, objectively, logically, intellectually. And I know you're living by your own emotions and your own sensibilities, but really what we're talking about is consciousness. We're talking about that's the priority, isn't it? I mean, you know, if you're going to be so much of a nihilist that you're only going to care about yourself, there's no conversation we can even bother having, because you don't give a shit. You don't think there's any qualitative meaning in that universe out there. All you care about is your desires. So I just can say, fuck you, you're a useless piece of shit, and I'll move on. I mean, I won't try arguing with your selfishness. But if you have any kind of rational capacity to see your vulnerability in the eyes of other creatures, human and unhuman, yeah, then this conversation should be something that you can think about. There should be some kind of equation that should run through your head now and then. You should really analyze what's your role here. What part are you playing in what's going on in this human community and in how we're treating animals?